An obstacle is just that, an obstacle. This is the lesson we have learned most while working on this podcast. We found it written on the back of one of our case files.
Let us introduce ourselves. I'm Antonius Nazareth, and the guy you just heard is Nicolas Sato. 1 year ago, we foolishly went on a hunt for a case to create our own crime podcast. And on that venture, we met a relative of a famed detective named Marnie Blick. And after listening to her story and seeing the amount of records she kept and had, we decided to create this podcast.
So that's what you'll be listening to. Tapes, phone recordings, or us reading files and discussing previous cases that Marnie had been a part of.
So what's really interesting about Marnie Blick is that she had an accident, and this accident, unfortunately, left her immobile from the waist down. But after a short layoff and recovery, she decided to come back to her true passion in life, solving crimes.
She hired an assistant to help do the detective work in person. And with the uprising popularity of cell phones, these recordings are between the years of 1996 and 2001, had him report back to her and play her the recordings he took.
Enter Finn Graham, a sketch artist she had used in previous cases before her accident. Most of the interviews you hear will be conducted by him and reported back to Marnie. For the most part, they're unedited, but we've tried to clean up the audio as much as we could for your hearing pleasure.
We have hundreds of cases, but have narrowed it down to those we found were the most interesting and edited those down to the key essentials.
So thanks for joining us, and we hope you stay aboard as we go through the Marnie Blick Tapes.
Case 1. The Strange Suffocation of David West. March 7th, 1996. This is the last day David West would play the character of Lab on the popular children's show, Lab's Lab. It was a locally broadcast kids series that starred Lab, a dog, a Labrador Retriever. His character was a professor who would teach lessons or do science experiments with a live audience of children. Much like Sesame Street or Barney and Friends, the host is an anthropomorphic animal played by a person in a giant mascot-esque costume. The show focused on education, science specifically, and the episode that was supposed to be filmed on March 7th focused on a magic trick.
Lab would bring out 2 large boxes. He would step inside one and have it locked behind him. Then, after a moment and an ascension of drums, he would magically step out of the other box as if teleported through the air. This could be done in several ways, but the way production chose to execute the trick was by having 2 actors, David West and his understudy and colleague, Matthew Spinney. So Matthew was first up in the costume as Lab.
He introduced the show with a quick monologue before picking a few kids from the audience for a game. After bringing them on stage, he escorted the kids back to their seats and introduced the focus of the show, the magic trick. The boxes were revealed from behind a curtain. Matthew stepped into his box and had an assistant lock the door behind him. A drum roll begins, and nothing. David never got out of his box. A slight panic filled the stage. A PA rushed over, unlocked the latch, and found David West dead.
Police investigations ruled the death as an accident. The ventilation system in David's suit had malfunctioned, which led to David passing out from the heat and suffocating.
However, David had a sister, Fiona, and she didn't feel so confident that this was an accident. After a few months had passed, she reached out to a detective she read about a few years back. Our very own Marnie Blick.
I'm there. Cool. Knock. Hope she's home. Hello?
Hi, my name is Finn Graham. I'm an associate of Detective Marnie.
There's a lapse in time here. This is Fiona's interview testimony after her and Marnie's phone conversation, as well as Finn fully introducing himself.
Hi,
It is all recorded via tape, and we've done our best to edit the audio for your listening pleasure.
Finn's description of Fiona: dark hair, dark eyes, medium length, straightened hair that parts from the middle. She looks young, but mature. A natural light olive skin. He also wrote that her eyes don't hide her pain very well.
I'm just gonna have this recording if that's okay. Could you just confirm that out loud for me? It's just procedure.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So please state your name for me and your relationship to the victim.
Fiona West, and I am the sister of David West.
Okay, and if it's all right with you, we'd like to go over some of what happened. Could you tell us from your understanding what happened?
Okay, so 2 months ago, on March 7th, my brother was found unresponsive on set of the show that he hosts.
This is Lab's lab?
Yes.
And that's a children's show, correct?
Yep. David plays the main host, Lab. It's really cute and sweet, and he really loved doing it.
You work on the show as well, correct?
Yeah. I'm David's personal assistant. He brought me on pretty much when it started.
Sure, and, okay, so you were on set as well on March 7th?
Yes, I was.
Could you take us through the day, the events, whatever you can remember from that day?
Should I start from the morning?
Yeah, sure. Just start with whatever you can remember.
Okay.
You can take your time. I know this is extremely difficult.
Yeah. Okay. So I got to work in the morning.
What time was this?
Would have been 8 a.m. The show rehearses in the morning and then shoots around 1 p.m. usually.
Okay.
So I got in and did what I usually do. Say hello to everyone, normal stuff. David was actually there too, early, which I remember teasing him about because he's usually late. Rehearsal started at 9 a.m. Everything went well. Everyone loved the episode. David was really excited because he had pitched the idea for the episode, and yeah, everyone loved it.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. So rehearsals end, and then what?
So rehearsals end around 10:15. David asked me to get his favorite burrito from a place across around the corner. That would have been around 10:30ish. When I get back, let's say it's 11:15. We ended up eating together, and he was still just excited and maybe a little nervous. This was the first time he'd pitched an episode himself. Then by noon, David and I are on set before shooting starts.
Do you remember anything unusual happening, or was this all just a normal day?
No, nothing really. I think he lost an earring and was kind of freaking out about that, but he misplaces stuff all the time. That's not unusual. And then, yeah, shooting started. The episode involved a magic trick where Lab, the character David plays, disappears into a box and then reappears somewhere else. David's understudy, Matthew, was the one who would disappear, and then David would appear out of another box. And that's like the magic trick. But he didn't come out of the box. It was this moment where everything sort of stopped. He's so good about cues and timing usually, and then after like a minute, someone on the crew opened the box. And yeah.
David was unresponsive.
Yes.
Investigation concluded that the ventilation on his mascot suit malfunctioned, right?
Yes. Those suits are massive and hot, so they have these ventilators inside of them, which is usually just to keep the actors from passing out, but since he was inside of the box and the ventilation didn't work, he couldn't breathe. That's what the investigator said happened. Just an accident.
Mm-hmm. And you didn't think it was an accident?
I don't know. I need another set of eyes. I don't feel like the police really cared to figure anything out.
No, I understand, and Detective Blick sees this sort of thing happen all the time. If people are too eager to close a case early, we get it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, what other questions?
Well, I guess, do you know of anyone who would have had any ill will towards David at all?
I mentioned some of this to Detective Blick on the phone. But yeah, the only person who really gains anything at all is David's understudy, Matthew.
This is Matthew Spinney, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did they get along?
Not at all.
Really?
Like, not at all. Production had to put their dressing rooms on opposite sides of the studio. It was that bad.
They'd fight.
All the time. And to be fair, my brother was a pretty confrontational guy and was always very just driven. And Matthew was sort of the opposite. I don't know. It just rubbed David the wrong way. I don't know exactly what started them off like that.
Okay. Is there anything else?
I don't think that Shane would do something like this. He's the producer on set. David and him were always on good terms. I do think Shane was considering giving Matthew more on-screen time in the main role. And I also do know that David and Shane argued about that at some point.
Got it.
But, yeah. The main thing is the suit thing.
What happened with the suits?
Right. So, the day of that day, Melanie Tang, who is the wardrobe supervisor and a really good friend of mine, she said that Matthew complained that his and David's suits had been mixed up, and he had her switch them back. And that happens to be the suit with the malfunctioning fan.
Did Melanie share this with the investigation initially?
No, she forgot. Or suppressed it. I don't know. It was really hard on her and her department since it was a costume failure.
So, Matthew, the understudy, asked her to switch the suits out. That's correct?
Yes. That's what she told me. And that's when I got in touch with you guys. I'm not completely convinced this was an accident.
Got it. Well, I think this is a good start, and I just want to thank you for talking through all this.
Of course.
I know it must be tough.
It feels good trying to get to the truth, I guess.
Last thing, could you share Melanie's number with me? And do you think we could speak to Shane as well at some point?
Yeah, of course. I'm sure they'd be more than willing to talk to you guys.
Great.
We don't know exactly the order of the next few interviews, so technically this may be chronologically out of order, but we're starting off with Finn's interview of Melanie Tang. She's the wardrobe supervisor on the show.
Melanie is of Chinese descent, short in stature with a cute face full of freckles, behind a pair of big round glasses. Her reputation on all accounts were that she's friendly and easy to work with.
Full name and position on the show?
Yeah. Melanie Tang. I am the wardrobe supervisor on Lab's Lab.
Okay. Perfect. And what was your relationship with the late David West?
As the wardrobe supervisor, I am in charge of all the costumes.
So you interacted with David daily?
Yes, exactly. Every day while we were shooting.
Sure. Mm-hmm. And then, would you say that you two got along pretty well, or?
We got along quite well. Fiona and I are really close. His sister.
Right. Okay. Do you mind recounting the day of March 7th? And please be as specific as possible.
Yeah. I don't have the best memory. I'm a little bit forgetful.
That's okay. Just take it step by step.
Okay. So I got in around 9 a.m. or, I don't know, like a little after 9:15-ish.
Well, don't you have to be there for rehearsals?
Well, not really. Okay, it depends. But rehearsals aren't normally done in costume. They're super heavy and it tires them out.
Okay.
Yeah, the actors.
I understand.
Usually I arrive during rehearsals and check in with my crew and make sure everything's going, smoothly, which I thought it was.
Okay, so you get in around 9, you check on everyone, and then do you happen to know where Matthew and David are at this time?
David went straight to his dressing room after rehearsal. I didn't see him till later, maybe like 11. He was eating breakfast with his sister.
So you saw David go into his dressing room after rehearsals around, let's say, 10:15?
Mm-hmm.
And then you didn't see him again until he was eating with Fiona at 11?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. And then what about Matthew?
Basically the same thing, which is strange.
Why is that strange?
I mean, it's not that strange, but Matt usually goes straight to the editing bays after rehearsal.
Uh-huh. Why?
He always watches the previous episodes before taping. That's like his thing, his method, I guess.
Okay, his method. I'll write that down. Okay, so you would say it's a bit abnormal that Matthew would go into his dressing room at this time?
Kinda. I guess. It's not super strange, but kinda. Like it's something I remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then who has access to the suits before you start shooting?
Myself, my crew, and the actors.
Matthew and David.
Yeah, they're the only ones in this episode.
And when do they get them?
We're done prepping the suits by 10, so we have them in their dressing rooms before they're done with the rehearsals by 10:15. I mean, usually, not always, but for the most part.
And then could you just walk me through, what do you have to do to prep the suits?
We steam them, iron out Lab's coat, clean his glasses, and basically make him look pristine.
And then how many suits do you have for the character Lab?
Just 2. One for David and one for Matt.
David and... Okay, I see. Yes, and everything went accordingly that day?
Yeah, everything was on time.
And then do you do a mechanical check on the ventilation systems in the building?
Yes, yeah, we do.
How often?
Every few weeks, which, yeah, obviously that's changed now with checks daily.
Right. Okay, so if someone were to have, let's say, tampered with it, right? The only people with access to the suits is your team and the actors, correct?
Yeah. But the police said it was a malfunction, right?
Sure, oversights can be made all the time.
Oh, right.
So besides Matthew going into his dressing room, everything seemed pretty normal.
Yeah, everything was going normal, or at least we thought it was until we realized the suits were switched.
The suits were switched?
Yeah, I was mad about this one. We've never had this happen, but we've also never had them play the same character on the same day.
Okay. I'm sorry, hold on. So Matthew brought the switch up to your attention?
Yeah. Well, kinda. I was helping Matt in his suit, and he noticed it was a bit loose. And I double-checked it, and it turns out to be David's suit, not Matt's. This was a little after 12, so like 12:20, because we did Matt before David.
Why would the suit be looser?
Well, David just got bigger over the years, so we had to change the dimension on his suit.
Okay, so the suits were mixed up, but then that ended up being corrected eventually.
Yeah, of course. As soon as we found out, we made the adjustment.
All right. And after you finished with Matthew's costume, then...
After that, I got David from set, and we put him in his suit.
Got it. I'm gonna go back to the switching of the suits. Was David aware of the mix-up? Did he say anything to you?
I don't think so. David has a really short temper, so I don't think anyone would have told him. I mean, I know I didn't.
Understood. And was David or Matthew acting differently in any way that day?
No, not really. Nothing I noticed.
Okay.
Oh, David did freak out about his earring, though.
His earring?
Yeah.
What time?
This was a little before I went to help Matt in his costume, so it'll be a little bit after 12. We started shooting at 1 p.m., and I think David got into his box at 12:45.
And you lost the earring that day?
Yeah. And he was wearing it during rehearsals, so...
Did you end up finding the earring at all?
Oh, yeah. It ended up being in one of the suits. One of my assistants found it.
Okay. Okay, great. Just a few more questions and we'll be done, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm not really helpful.
No. You're doing great. This is fantastic.
Cool. Good.
Okay. Could you tell me what Matthew and David's relationship was like?
I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie, but it was pretty bad at times.
Yeah.
And very hostile. I mean, it was always pretty bad, but around New Year, David just... He just kind of went nuts. And, I mean, although the last week or so, it had gone back to, like, normal levels of hatred. Yeah.
And what about Shane Morgan?
Our producer, Shane.
What's he like?
Shane's great. He's a bit of a hard ass, but he's pretty funny.
And David's relationship with Shane?
Oh, I mean, I didn't see them interact all too much, but once in a while I hear David throw some underhanded comment.
And then what about David and anyone on your team? Was there any contention?
No. I mean, none that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
We pretty much stay out of drama, and plus, the actors like us. We make them look good.
Great, thank you so much.
Yeah, hope it's helpful.
That's perfect.
Shane Morgan, the producer of Lab's Lab, had several credits as an associate producer, but this seemed to be his first big show as an executive. Mid-40s, slicked back, dark hair, and some stubble. Finn notes that he's handsome and an impressively large guy.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm just about to knock.
What you're hearing is the audio from Finn's cell phone as he enters Shane Morgan's office. Marnie decided to do this interview personally, and we couldn't find any notes or clues as to why she decided to do it this way. But our best guess is either she wanted to show Finn an example of how to do an interview herself, or maybe she felt it was advantageous for a woman to be interviewing Shane.
There's no need to be so formal.
Murder investigation seems pretty serious to me.
We're not investigating a murder. We're investigating an accident.
To see if he was murdered?
Just to see if anything was overlooked, Mr. Morgan.
Shane.
Great. So, Shane, would you mind if we recorded this?
Be my guest.
Perfect. Then could you state your name, profession, and connection to David West?
Shane Morgan, executive producer. I was David's boss.
Now, Shane, how would you describe David?
David was a really good performer. He was difficult, but sometimes those two go together, you know?
So I've heard. Would you mind elaborating? Specifics are the name of the game.
All right. David had certain standards, and if everyone didn't meet them, he'd let you know. Loudly.
Did he have any problems with the wardrobe department?
No, it was mainly with those above him.
So you?
Yeah, we'd get into it.
Specifics, please, Shane.
Right. I don't hold it against him. We all want more money, but his demands were frequent and ridiculous. He's replaceable.
Replaceable? Isn't he the star?
He's inside of a giant dog costume. It doesn't matter who's in it. Kids aren't that smart.
Who would you have replaced him with?
Matt? The guy who plays him now?
That's Matthew Spinney.
Yeah, no offense, Marnie, but this all seems pretty obvious, huh?
I'm just confirming, Shane.
Okay, well, is there a way to speed this up?
We just want to be thorough. Specifics are my job.
All right.
Were there any plans on firing David?
Not plans, but we'd have conversations. David was pissing me off.
Was David aware of these conversations?
We'd spoken about it, but it wasn't a plan. Just conversation, you know?
Was Matthew aware of these conversations?
No. Matt's contract was up soon, and we wouldn't want him to have any negotiating power.
Tough business.
Tough. I'm not investigating a death. Just making sure the money stays where it should be.
Sounds tough to me. So did David think he was underpaid?
Everyone thinks they're underpaid. As they should. But no, he wasn't. He flashed his black card like a badge of honor.
A black card?
Yeah, the Amex black card.
I see.
It's dumb. And not that impressive. I have one too.
So you don't feel underpaid? Let's switch gears. I'd like it if you could tell me about March 7th.
Is that when David died?
Yes.
What do you want to know?
I just need you to recall your day.
I had meetings downtown. I'm not on set that often. This show's a well-oiled machine by now. But I do usually come to the taping. I think I came in around 12. Yeah, it should be around 12.
Did you interact with Matthew or David?
Probably. Nothing intensive, though. Just a hello or something like that.
In their dressing rooms?
No, I'm not going to go in there. I meant on set.
I see. So could you describe your day once you got to the studio?
Sure. I had a few meetings earlier. Drove over, went into my office before going onto the main stage to see how it was all coming together. Looked pretty good from what I could see. This is when I would have said hi to Matt or David.
This was from 12 until...
Probably for a half hour.
Any interaction with the wardrobe department?
No. Melanie may have come to say hello. I am her boss.
Right, but besides that, anything specific?
Not that I can recall.
And so after 12:30, what happened then?
Shooting starts at 12:45, so David got into his box a few minutes before. The show started with Lab coming out with the boxes behind him.
Lab in this case being Matthew.
Yes. Matthew came out with the boxes. He sang our theme with a few kids picked from the audience, did a little introduction of what we would be doing, and then got in his box. And then we waited for David to come out of his, and he never did.
Who retrieved David from the box? Who touched him?
Well, the PA opened the box.
PA?
Production assistant. Opened the latch of the box, then David's body slumped out of the box. It was dramatic. Fiona came running over, and so did our on-set medic.
Just them?
Yeah. And, on a different kind of show, the ratings would have been nuts. Anyway, is there anything else you need?
Only if there's something you'd like to add.
I guess that I didn't kill him?
Noted.
There's no reason for me to. We didn't get along, but we would have replaced him with Matt eventually. The show was on hiatus for a month. No benefits. David was difficult. Even in the afterlife, apparently.
Thank you for your time, Shane.
No worries. If there's anything else, let me know. Or just swing by set anytime.
Now that you mention it, do you still have access to the boxes?
Yeah, they're still in the props department.
Would it be possible for Finn to take a look at those boxes?
Of course. Ask Melanie. I'm sure she'll help you find them.
Oh, great. Thanks for being such a help, Shane.
No problem. Take care.
Bye.
This is the same day. After getting permission from Shane, Finn was able to access the boxes in question. And lucky for us, he called Marnie, so we get to listen to his description of them. We edited out some of the sounds of Finn examining the box, so you may hear some time jumps.
I'm here with the boxes.
Describe them to me.
Well, they're pretty straightforward. They're just like big wooden boxes that are painted blue. They got some hearts and stars and confetti. Let's see. There's a big wood latch on the outside of the door. It's kind of cartoonish.
Right. I'm surprised David couldn't tip it over from the inside.
Yeah, you say that, but the bottom of the box can be bolted in the ground.
That makes sense. Wouldn't want your star to go tumble over and get a concussion.
Right. Well, oddly enough, this time a concussion would be an upgrade.
What about the inside?
Let's see. Okay, it's padded slightly, I think, in case it were to fall over.
Can you check for magnets? Hold your keys up against the walls.
I'm checking. No magnets.
Figures. Do you see anything abnormal? A hole or something?
Not really. It looks like they must have built this for the episode because everything in it's in perfect condition.
All right. How long until Matt's interview?
It shouldn't be longer than 20 minutes. They say 10, but everything seems to be late here.
So this is the interview we were most excited to listen to. Instead of a written description, we have a headshot. The hairstyle is very 90s. A medium length with wave-like bangs. Think Leo in Tectonic. He has some piercing blue eyes with a strong jaw. And from the picture, it looks like he's a medium build. Maybe 5'11 or 5'10.
All right, let's get this started.
Sure, cool.
Okay. So, please state your name, occupation, and relationship with David West.
My name is Matthew Spinney. I'm the understudy for Lab here on the show. I do a bunch of other characters for the show whenever needed. And yeah, David and I, well, I'm his understudy.
Thanks. So, can you describe your relationship with David?
Honestly, it wasn't great. He is dead and all, rest in peace, but he was a dick. To me, he was a dick.
How so?
I don't know. Just ever since I got hired, he was mean and I think, insecure. He was a pretty bad performer, to be honest, and also way too old to be doing this shit. I don't know.
Okay, so did you two talk much at all, or?
Not if we didn't have to. On set, but bare minimum.
Did anyone else have issues with him?
I don't know. I guess people didn't mind his, like his way of being. People on the show are all kind of full of shit.
Wow, okay. Do you care to elaborate?
No, not really. Just, I don't know.
Can you run me through your day? That day?
Wait, it was an accident, right? Isn't that what was said?
Yeah, as of now, that's what happened. We're just doing due diligence since apparently that didn't happen on the initial investigation, so we're being very thorough.
Gotcha.
So could you take me through the day, please?
Right. Our call time is 8. David is never on time, except that day he was. He got to pitch an episode, and I guess he was excited to work for once. I usually head into my dressing room, eat something small for breakfast, like a bar or something.
Did you interact with anyone from the wardrobe department?
Not that I can remember. If I did, it would have been with Melanie. But I don't think she comes in until after rehearsals.
Yeah, I think she comes in around 9 a.m. Did you interact with David?
God, no.
It was that bad, huh? Why do you think that was?
Like I said, he probably felt insecure. He felt threatened.
Yeah, but in what way?
I'm younger, more passionate, more, driven. David was on the way out, and he knew it. And what other gig was he going to get at this point? This is his biggest credit, and he is literally in a dog costume. Nobody cares about David West. No one knew who he was.
Were you ever told that you would replace David?
No.
But you think they were going to?
Yeah, eventually.
And that would be a good thing, right?
Are you serious? Are you suggesting that I killed David?
I didn't say that.
Dude, he was a mean piece of shit, but I wasn't about to, murder someone for a job. That's the kind of shit that he would do, not me.
Again, Matthew, that's not what I'm saying at all. I just want to ask these questions to everybody. I have to. May we continue?
Sure.
Okay. So you didn't interact with David before rehearsal. What about during rehearsal?
No, not really.
Did rehearsal go well?
Yeah, it was fine. David was, extra animated. Someone told me he wrote the episode, so it makes sense why he was being like that.
He wrote the episode?
I think so. I don't really know. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, no problem. I will not hold you to it. What happened after rehearsal?
I always go to the editing room right after rehearsal to, watch the previous episode.
So you go straight from there to the editing room. Why is that?
Well, I want to make sure that I see the previous episode and, I see how it feels. I don't know, it helps me get into the character a little bit more. I'll remember the gestures and the different inflections.
And you did that on March 7th?
That's the day that David...
Correct.
Yes, definitely.
Why are you so sure?
Because the episode before that was the Tectonic Plates episode, which I've only seen in the editing room.
Okay, so...
And that episode is the last one that aired because...
Okay, no, I see.
So I went straight from rehearsal to the editing room.
Just like you do every time before shooting?
Yes, correct.
Were you alone?
No, Jim's there, the main editor. But, I know how to do playback and stuff, so I just watch episodes.
And around what time was that?
Right after rehearsal, so 10:30-ish.
10:30. And you're there for how long?
Pretty much till I have to change for taping. Right before we get into our costumes.
You never left the editor's room?
Maybe go to the bathroom.
In your dressing room?
No, I'd go to the one next to the editing room.
And where is it?
Second story, literally right across the hall from the editing room.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you something pretty blunt and just take it as you will. Cool?
Sure.
Melanie said she saw you enter your dressing room after rehearsal.
Well, no, that's not right. At what time?
Is 10:30, 10:40?
No, I was in the editing room. Jim can vouch for me.
Could we get his contact?
Sure.
Why do you think she would say that?
I don't know. Maybe she mixed up the days or something. But I definitely did not. 100% not.
Do you think she's lying?
I don't know, I guess. Or maybe she's just wrong.
What's your relationship with Melanie like?
We get along great. I've, never had any issues with her.
Okay.
Am I the suspect?
No, this is all just to make sure we're doing our due diligence, that's all.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Just a few more questions. What time did you finish in the editing room?
I think someone from wardrobe got me at around 12.
Melanie?
No, one of her PAs came to the editing room and brought me down to wardrobe where they would help me get into the suit.
There was an issue with your suit, right?
Not an issue, they just got it mixed up.
You had David's suit and I guess he had yours, or there was a mix-up?
Yep. Good thing I noticed. It could have been...
I understand.
But yeah, it was David's suit.
How did his suit get in your room?
Wardrobe must have mixed them up. I don't know. They're basically identical.
Then how'd you spot the difference?
Well, they're identical on the outside. David wasn't in great shape, so his suit, it's not as tight as mine. So when I got into the suit, I noticed that it was a bit loose. So I told Melanie that it didn't feel right, and she checked it out, and sure enough...
So they switched them back?
Yeah. Someone went over to David's dressing room and switched them back.
And then they came back to put you in the suit?
Yep. They came back with my actual suit, and I got dressed.
Okay. So, what happens now?
Well, then I opened the show. We did our opening theme. Brought a couple kids on stage for a little game, and then I set up the magic trick.
Yeah, nothing out of the ordinary.
No. It was pretty normal. Nothing stands out, really.
Did you ever see any sort of tension with Melanie and David at all?
No. Melanie and David's sister are like best friends, and, plus she's good at her job, so she doesn't give you a reason to complain.
So this mix-up, you would say, is a rarity?
Yeah, I haven't seen this happen. It also shouldn't be hard for them to get us the right costumes.
So no tension at all between them. But what about David and Shane?
Yeah, that's different. They'd get into it.
Could you elaborate? Do you mind?
I don't know. I'm guessing I wasn't the only person that David was a dick to. Which is dumb. Like, Shane is our boss at the end of the day.
So it was David who hated Shane?
Yeah. Wait, I don't know, like maybe similar levels. And I wouldn't say it was hatred. I think Shane just didn't like how annoying David was to work with. And I think, David probably wanted more control or more money. I don't know. But dude, they argued all the time. Usually just small things, but every now and then it would be like a tsunami argument.
Like yelling? Okay. Did you have anything else you want to add that might be important? Like a relationship, a rumor, an action?
Nope.
Excuse me, if you think of anything, just let me know. That'd be very helpful. And here's my number.
Great. That's it?
Yeah, okay, so I think we're all good here. Matt, thank you so much for talking about all this. We really appreciate it. And good luck with the show.
The second Melanie interview takes place on a different day than the first set of interviews. That day is unclear. But it sounds like it too is on the set of Lab's Lab.
This is Vin Graham with Melanie Tang for a second interview. Sorry for having to do this again.
No, of course.
We just want to clarify a few things.
Yeah. Please, ask away.
Cool. Okay. So after rehearsals on March 7th, could you tell me what you remember David doing that day?
After rehearsal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he spoke to Fiona. He spoke to Fiona before going to his dressing room.
Okay. And then what about Matthew? What did he do after rehearsals?
I saw him go into his dressing room as well.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. I mean, he was in costume, so I think that was...
Wait, Matthew was in costume, like in the headpiece?
Yeah.
Covering,
Yeah, he had his headpiece on. But he was in Lab's costume. But I definitely saw him go into his dressing room.
So you saw someone go in costume into Matthew's dressing room?
Right. But it couldn't have really been anyone else. Right?
Yeah, most likely, yeah.
Is that bad? Did I miss something?
No, you didn't miss anything. It's fine. I'm just trying to clarify some things, that's all.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes, the earring. You said David was missing an earring.
Yeah, he was. I remember that.
And then you said that you found that earring in the suit.
Yeah.
Okay. So you found the earring in David's suit. Was this before or after the incident?
Oh, whoops. I mean, we didn't find it in David's suit. We found it in Matthew's suit.
You found David's earring in Matthew's suit?
Yeah,
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I remember that because I remember thinking the same thing. It's weird, right?
Yeah, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense to me. Do you have any idea why that would be there?
Oh, I I don't know. I mean...
Does Matthew wear earrings?
No. At least I've never seen him wear any.
Did anyone make sure that the earrings were matching?
Yeah, they matched. We gave it to Fiona, and she said they matched.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Sorry if that wasn't clear.
No, it's okay. Just getting information.
I didn't think about which suit it was,
No, really, it's very helpful. Thank you.
No problem. Anything else?
I have one... No, I think that's it, actually. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
no problem.
Done. Thanks, Mel.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of
it.
course. Reach out if I can help any.
Definitely.
I'm here. Cool.
What you're about to hear is a conversation between Marnie and Finn. The location of either party is unknown, but we assume Finn is somewhere on set or near set, and Marnie is at home. We have plenty of recorded phone calls between the two, most of which are just quick questions from Finn, but this call was very succinct and relevant, so we thought we'd include it. We did cut the introduction, which was Finn relaying the second Melanie interview back to Marnie.
Wow. Okay. That changes things.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
You there? Mark.
Yeah. Okay, let's go through what we've got.
Okay, so...
If there was foul play here, I think we can narrow it down to the people who had access to the suit, the costume.
Okay.
And I think that's what we do next, by the way.
We check the costumes out.
Yeah. But okay. So, who has access to the costumes?
That would be Melanie and Matthew. And maybe Shane. He's the producer.
He wasn't seen anywhere near the costumes, though.
No, you're right.
Also, Shane doesn't have a motive. If he has a problem with David, he can just fire him.
That's true.
Melanie has access. Could easily have tampered with the suits if she wanted to.
Yeah, but there's no motive.
None we know of.
That leaves Matthew. He's the only one with anything to gain, and they hated each other. And he asked to switch out the suits. I mean, it feels obvious.
What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. Because if there was foul play, all signs point to Matthew.
You need to check those suits out. Ask Melanie if it would be possible to compare both side by side.
Yeah, okay. I'm on it.
Call me when you have them.
So Finn returns to set and gets access to both costumes. They were no longer being used, but luckily were still in storage. Due to the accident, production decided to create new suits with new ventilations. The smart and responsible call.
Hello?
All right. I have both the costumes here.
Great. The ventilation systems should be in the headpiece.
Yeah, hold on, Mar. I'm looking. Okay, here they are. Okay, yeah, give me just a second here. Here we go. Okay, I'm turning on the one in Matthews now, and it works fine.
And David's?
Interesting. Okay, so the battery works fine, and there's a tiny motor that's spinning, but like the gear isn't engaging the fan. Yeah, and on Matthew's suit, the gear with the fan is touching this rod that's spinning from the motor, and on David's, it's like not touching. It's not moving the fan. Wait.
No rush.
Okay, wait. Yeah, these two parts are different. There's a spacer on each of the mechanisms, right?
Okay.
And the one on David's suit is a different size, and it's causing the motor not to connect with the gear. Does that make sense?
Switch out the spacers, see if it works.
That's what I'm doing, Mar. Just a second. And... boom, it works.
So that one spacer...
Yeah, it made it faulty.
Good catch. Okay, hanging up now.
What?
I want to look into some credit card statements.
Oh, okay. Bye.
This is the final conversation we could find that connects to this case. The case that we've named the strange suffocation of David West. Finn has just handed over the phone to Fiona, with Marnie on the other end. They're at Fiona's house.
Okay, great. Pass me along.
Hello?
Hey, Fiona. How's it going?
It's going. So, what's new?
So, well, we interviewed everyone who had access to the suits and assessed all possibilities. And I'm sorry to say, but this was an accident.
So Matthew didn't switch the suits?
They were just being switched back. A mistake by wardrobe. Matthew was in the editing bay from rehearsal to shoot time.
Couldn't he have slipped out?
We had a witness. Jim, the editor, was with him the whole time.
No, that makes sense. I mean, I don't want that to be the case. I just found it strange. It's a weird coincidence.
I understand.
Poor David.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I hope this brings you closure.
Thank you, both, for looking into it.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, so that's that.
Do you have anyone to talk to? Like, to be with?
Melanie can come over, I'm sure. Once she's off.
Well, I can stay on the phone if you'd like. Or if Finn can keep you company until Melanie is done.
No, I'm fine. Really, I've dealt with this already.
Okay. If you have any follow-up questions or any new information is presented, feel free to give us a call.
I will. Thanks.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. I really do.
Take care, Fiona.
Should I pass you back?
No, that's all right.
Okay. Thank you.
How are you feeling? A little disappointed? So were we when we got to this conversation. There seemed to be so many loose ends, like the earring or the spacer or even the mystery of who went into Matthew's room. Very disappointing.
But don't worry, there is a reason we chose this as our first case. For one, it's the earliest case that we had a record of. And two, when we looked into the actual file, the record that Marnie kept, we found out that Marnie lied.
So Marnie wrote down a detailed report as to what actually happened on March 7th, 1996. This is our paraphrased account. David and Matthew arrive on set at 8 a.m. Rehearsals start at 9 and last until 10:15, and David has Fiona grab food for him right after. Matthew claims he went straight to the editing bay, which was confirmed by Jim. Shortly after, Melanie sees someone in Lab's costume go into Matthew's dressing room. It says here, that someone is David West.
With Matthew around, David's bargaining power was much lower. He had a replacement. So David concocted his plan on how to kill Matthew Spinney. He pitched the idea for the Magic Box episode. Since David has access to his own suit, he figured out how to get his own fan to malfunction. While Fiona was fetching him lunch, David went to his own dressing room and put on his suit, the one with the now malfunctioning fan. Then, in front of everyone, disguised as Lab, crossed the studio to go into Matthew's dressing room. Knowing that Matthew will be in the editing room, there, he switches out his own Lab costume with Matthew's. He then returns to his own dressing room, takes off the costume, and waits for Fiona to get back.
So Fiona returns a little after 11 and eats lunch with David. Afterwards, David is seen on set until right before they shoot. Matthew comes back to change into his costume. This is when Matthew notices his costume is too big and alerts Melanie, who switches back the suits. Then David gets into his own suit, the malfunctioning one, not knowing that Melanie had switched them back again. Right before the shoot, David realizes he lost his earring, but it's too late. He has to get into his box. His coffin.
So there are two conclusive pieces of evidence that Marnie has compiled. One, the earring. Remember, it was found in Matthew's suit, not David's. And as convenient as it may sound, it does make sense. David didn't account for the suit sizes being different. So, since Matthew's suit is tighter, his earring must have snagged while being taken off or put on. With the adrenaline rush, it's easy to see how David wouldn't have felt it catch. This places David in Matthew's suit. 2. Fiona had given Marnie access to David's credit card statements. David was in a decent amount of debt, but that's not the damning evidence. It's a small charge of $3.19 at Home Depot. After contacting Home Depot, she found out that the only item that was priced at $3.19 after taxes was a pack of spacers, the same size as the one Finn found in David's suit. So, Marnie lied to Fiona. Why? Well, we can't know for sure, but why would someone lie?
Well, it doesn't really change the outcome. No one murdered David. Technically, it's a suicide. And we think Marnie believed Fiona had suffered enough. She lost her brother, and for a lack of better terms, ignorance is bliss. She doesn't need to know the truth.
So that concludes Case 1 of the Marnie Blick Tapes. We will be releasing Episode 2 as soon as it's finished. We hope to improve the speed at which we're able to release the episodes, but it's a long and arduous process.
And if you have any suggestions, questions, and/or comments, please email us at themarnieblicktapes@gmail.com.
This is the first podcast we've ever done, and we'd love to hear notes and thoughts on how to better structure the cases going forward.
Follow us at Nicolas M. Sato, that's Nicolas with no H, and at Antonius Nazareth, like that guy from that book.
Editing by Antonius Nazareth and Nicolas Sato.
Music by Antonius Nazareth.
And special thanks to Mallory Blick and Huxley.